'cause she's a Jezebel. St. Andrew Jezebel, 'cause she's a Jezebel. St. Andrew Jezebel.
Hey y'all, thank y'all so much for pressing play on Season 3, Episode 4 of the St. Andrews Jezebel podcast. My name is Ashley Feller. I'm a third-generation Panama City native. I play music, and I also volunteer for Floriopolis. I'm so excited because this week we've got Sarah Burris from the Bay County Public Library, and she's here to tell us about their new digital media collab at the library. I went and visited her last week. I got to check out the space. Folks, mind blown. They have got some incredible technology in there. There'll be more details about that during the interview, and I really hope you check it out. After that, we've got a few community events for the month of May. Lots of exciting things happening in historic St. Andrews. Let's get to it. Stay tuned for our interview with Sarah Burris. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Today, we are here with Sarah Burris from the Bay County Public Library. The library has recently opened a podcasting space and also multimedia space, really. Would you tell us a little bit about that and how that came to be?
Oh, I am so excited to share about our digital media collab space at the Bay County Public Library. And it is grant funded through the Library Services and Technologies Act grant provided through the Department of State's Division of Library and Information Services. And additional funding was provided by our friends at the Bay County Public Libraries. So our goal was to take a underutilized office space and then transform it into something that our community needs. It's not something that's available for free to be able to check out the space, all the media equipment, and provide it to our community. So we want everyone to be able to take the soundproof room and create, collaborate, be creative, and make something new. Podcasting is becoming way more popular, so we really wanted to provide a podcasting space. So that's why we have the soundproofing, and we have a Rodecaster Pro equipment that's in the space to be able to use, as well as 4 microphones and boom mics and headphones.
And it's wonderful, folks. The equipment that they have here is top notch. I feel like a kid in a candy store. I absolutely love it. And thank you so much for doing the hard work that you did to convert this space into something that the public can use to be super creative and do something new. Now, I've found that many stall in starting their own podcast because they feel like they don't have the skills or the equipment to start. The library's new podcasting space, or I should really say multimedia space, might alleviate some of those feelings. Can you tell me about the space and the equipment that's available for the public to use?
It is a soundproof room where you can fit up to 4 to 5 individuals in the space. We have the podcasting equipment, but we also have media equipment. So we've got 2 laptops that are creator laptops that have Photoshop and Premiere elements so that you can do video and photo editing. We've got a Epson V600 scanner, which I think is one of my favorite new toys. The scanner is so smart that it can do, those like weird sepia images from the 70s? It can color correct that for you. So you're like, oh, they're really wearing a blue shirt rather than that weird, dingy brown. So I have a lot of one-on-one classes that you could take. So if you're nervous about, getting started, we could do podcasting. We can also do how to scan and repair your family photos or how to get started on video editing. And we have some Korg MIDI players as well as a drawing monitor. So if you're doing some sketches and you want it to transfer directly to your digital illustration, we have a game and drawing monitor that'll connect to the laptops.
Oh my gosh, so the possibilities are endless. Wow. If someone wanted to use the space, what do they need to do and who do they need to call to ensure their spot?
So first, you could either call the reference desk at 850-522-2107. You can schedule up to 4 hours. Editing takes a long time, and we know that. So 4 hours will at least get you a good portion of that covered. And then if you are at the library, you just visit that information desk that's near the computer lab at the Bay County Public Library, and they're going to take a look at the calendar and see what's available. You can schedule up to 2 weeks in advance and see where you're able to fit in. And our library schedule is Monday through Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., Thursday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., So it should cover some time that you are not at work so that you'll be able to schedule space for whatever you are working on.
And you have a podcast yourself. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we have a library podcast called Unstacked. And that is one where we have two different formats. So we do one where, I don't know if you remember Stephen. He used to be the head of circulation here at the Bay County Public Library. And now he is now in Huntsville, Madison County Public Library up in Alabama. So we're still podcasting together, and he really wanted a podcast. So he's kind of the reason why we got started. But now we do interviews with the both of us to kind of share what we're reading, different genres of books, as well as some literary news. And then our second type of podcast, we interview authors, and we've had 23 authors so far, and a lot of them are best-selling, well-known authors. And the last one was Brendan Slocum and his new release, The Violin Conspiracy. So it's a thriller with a missing Stradivarius, and that one's good for the music lovers out there too.
That sounds so interesting. How did you feel at the beginning of your podcasting journey, and how do you feel now?
I think I was a little nervous, to be honest. I was like anyone who was like, okay, can I really do a podcast? But the editing wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And just learning how to get the sound, don't listen to our first podcast. Our first podcast, we were accidentally recording through the computer, so you can tell the difference. And we just got better and better and better. So with anything, it's like practice and be like, okay, let's not do that. Let's try this. But I just fell in love with it. I think podcasting right now is one of my favorite things that I get to do.
I love it. I think it's an exciting new medium, and it's also a relatively new medium, but it's gained a lot of popularity, especially since the pandemic. Why do you believe this art form has made such a breakthrough?
I do think the pandemic kind of highlighted it because we were so isolated. And so now I have like a new system of like listening to something while I am doing chores and driving. And so I feel like I have these friends in my ears, even if I know them or I don't know them. And then I stay in tune with my favorite podcast. So I think that's it's definitely part of why we wanted to start it. We wanted to create a new virtual program. And the cool thing is you don't even have to be local to enjoy it. We have listeners from like Ireland, Germany, China, like everywhere. We record through Anchor, and there's a little dashboard and it shows who's listening where, which is kind of fascinating.
I love looking at my demographics too. I've got people listening all the way in California. And as you know, this is a local podcast, so it intrigues me that we've achieved that intimacy with people that far away.
It's really cool.
Yeah. And so what are some of your favorite podcasts to listen to?
Well, I think I might be a little bit like you. I am a bit of a murder podcast fan. So my favorite murder is probably my favorite at this. It's been years that I've been listening to that. So definitely a Murderino. And then just looking at my favorite podcasts, I have like at least 9 or 10 different murder podcasts. I don't know why it's so relaxing, but it is.
They are.
I think partly because it's like, okay, I'm going to look out for this. So that it's like a safety thing. And then I feel okay because that's not happening to me right now. So my world is a lot better than that world. So I think that's part of it too. And I love the survivor stories as well. And then there's a few podcasts that we've been introduced just interviewing authors because some authors have podcasts. So one of the ones I've added to my rotation is Reading Glasses by Mallory O'Mara. And she does that with Bree Grant. And it's all about getting people enthusiastic about reading again. Because sometimes you get reading burnout and you're like, okay, if I don't like this book, but I need to finish it. And she's like, okay, put it down. There's so many books out there. So like little tips on how to like keep reading, have fun. Audiobooks or real books, just little tips to get you reading what you want to read and keep going. And I love their suggestions as well. And then the other one, we interviewed Terry Miles, and he started as a podcaster first before being an author.
Wow.
So Rabbits, it's a fictionalized podcast. So you're listening to this like thriller, and each series is its own kind of story, but it's still set in this like kind of if a escape room became reality, like there's gamers and it's very suspenseful and you get thrown in there. And then his book is similar to the stories from the podcast, but it's a whole nother story. So it's great. It's interesting how much you can do with podcasting. It doesn't have to be an interview. It doesn't have to be nonfiction. It can be fictionalized.
That's true. There's so many different styles. Absolutely. Did you hear the thing about Pam? Have you listened to that one?
No. Tell me more.
Highly recommend. I first learned of it from the Dateline podcast.
There's a Dateline podcast?
Yes. Yes. Pretty much everything that's on the Dateline show has been converted into a podcast. Just when you think you know what it's about, you find out you don't. It's full of twists and turns. It's a murder case. It's a false conviction case. It's unbelievable. It's one of the most fascinating true crime stories that I have ever heard. And it's had updates even in the last year and a half, I'd say. It's ongoing. It's one of the best. Highly recommend.
What about Pam?
The Thing About Pam.
The Thing About Pam. Okay.
Yes.
I will add that to my rotation because I need a new one.
And there's multiple facets of it. You know, there's the podcast, and then they've got the Dateline episodes, and then there's a special on Peacock. So you can kind of consume it from different angles. It's excellent.
I love it.
Yes. I met you a couple years ago. You invited me to come play music here at the library, and that was one of my most favorite shows I've ever done. I love playing in any kind of alternative space that you wouldn't ordinarily find music. What's it like in your role at the library, and what would you say is its greatest challenge?
Well, I am the Community Relations and Marketing Coordinator, but I do have a Master of Library and Information Science, so I still very much consider myself a librarian, but my role is much different. I am one that does a lot of the organizing for adult programming. We do our Friends Presents concert series, so we are just resuming that. We had our first concert back in March, and that was the first one since the pandemic. So we're just slowly getting our norm back into having more in-person programming. And then I do the art exhibits. So I organize who the rotating art exhibits are going to be. Our summer programming is going to be the theme Oceans of Possibilities. So our artists for the summer will all have kind of an ocean theme to them to kind of fit that summer reading. And I do a little bit of everything else. I do a lot of marketing. So that's what my main part of my job is. So creating those event guides that you see and marketing materials for the library, which is a lot of fun. One of the challenges is to say no. It's hard to say no. And do you have that problem as well?
I have trouble with the boundaries.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I want to say yes to everything, and I probably will. But one of the balances I'm working on is that waiting till later or saying no to certain projects or programs, because there's just so many exciting things that you can do at the library. And we want to offer everything to our community. So that's my biggest challenge.
I relate to that. That resonates so much with me. I have to let things, I call it marinate.
That's a good one.
Stick it in the Instant Pot.
Because you want to just immediately get excited and start. And then, sometimes it's like, okay, let me ponder.
And if I do that, I end up with a bunch of half-finished projects and then nothing gets done.
Yeah, we always have something happening.
So, folks, since this is a local podcast, we should talk about St. Andrews. And if I didn't mention before, we actually are using the brand new equipment here at the Bay County Public Library. We're recording this podcast on the new Rodecaster Pro. It's fantastic. I would consider it the Mercedes-Benz of equipment. It's excellent. If you come and use it, you will love it. It's very easy to use, and Sarah is great at getting you started. And there's all kinds of resources online for you to refer to. It's really a wonderful way to introduce yourself to the field. But back to talking about St. Andrews, what do you love about St. Andrews, Sarah?
Biggest things I love about St. Andrews is how walkable it is. And there's so many a variety of things that you can go to all in the same day. Like you can park your car and you can go get coffee. You can take a walk at the park. You can wander to the marina. You can go out to eat. You can shop. Everything is very walkable and doable and relaxing. I feel like St. Andrews is one of those places where you can just recoup and feel refreshed. We went there this weekend, and I went to Little Village and listened to Wiggle Room, and it was a fun, delightful afternoon.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for supporting live local music. I love Wiggle Room. I just did a show with them at Maddie's downtown not very long ago. So what developments do you hope to see in St. Andrews as it evolves?
I have no suggestions because I am just excited to see what they keep adding. I think they just added a record shop, and there might be music classes, and every new business adventure is just something that we needed. I don't want to push it anyway, but I just want to be able to support all the new businesses that pop up, even the bakeries and restaurants, and everything is just lovely.
Me too. It's exciting. So what's new and exciting coming up at the library?
Well, one of the things that I want to highlight is Creative Bug. It's also grant funded, and it's something that we have through September. So we have databases from our homepage. So if you go to www.nwrls.com, there is a books and research tab, and on that is the databases. All you need to do is plug in your library card, which is free for residents of Bay, Gulf, and Liberty County. And Creative Bug is our newest edition. We also have the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post that you can create your account free through September with this grant. So definitely test it out. The Washington Post is one that I like to read a little bit more regularly. And you do have to go back in and kind of restart that kind of trial, but it is all free, provided through the library. And Creative Bug is one of the video tutorial programs where you can take classes on over 1,000 arts and crafts. So everything from like cake decorating to macrame to watercolor to acrylic. They have a little bit of everything, and they'll put a list of the supplies that you need so that you can follow along with that class. And it's like world-renowned designers. I'm following half of them on Instagram already. And then to know that they now are on Creative Bug is pretty exciting.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I already use ArtistWorks, which I love.
Yes.
And then, is it Class Central? What's the online classes?
There was Universal Classes.
I used to use that too. I use everything and I love it. Mm-hmm. And Libby, that is...
Oh my gosh. Libby, definitely need that library card, and you can have 5 digital checkouts. So it's ebooks and audiobooks. And if you enjoy podcasts, you probably enjoy audiobooks, because that's how I am. I like balance and juggle in between. And we always add new books every month. If you have a title suggestion, just send us a title suggestion on our website. There is a little tab that you can put in your title suggestions. And you can also scroll down to ArtistWorks and create your account through Libby. So that's how you're going to work for that. For Libby, you're going to select Panhandle Library Access Network first, then the Northwest Regional Library System. So we're getting more books because we're going through the Panhandle Library Access Network first, and then we have our own collection as well.
Well, how cool and exciting is that? Well, Sarah, thank you so much for inviting me here to try out the new equipment. This is all top notch, and I'm just teeming with excitement for our community and myself and you and the library and everybody. I love it. I can hardly express how much I love this. And so how can folks reach y'all online and beyond?
So our website's www.nwrls.com, but we also have Facebook pages. So the Bay County Public Library has its own Facebook page. And you can also sign up for our digital e-newsletter. So that's going to be on our website, and you're just going to scroll down, and there's a link to be able to sign up for that monthly e-newsletter. So it's only monthly. It's not overwhelming, but that'll keep you posted on what's coming up in terms of events.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, folks, I encourage you to have the courage to press the red button, as I call it. Call up the library, come see the space. Sarah or someone else who works here will show you the equipment, show you the room, how it works. It's really not as scary as you think. You can do it. Folks, thank you for listening, and until next time, keep St. Andrews salty. One of the best things about St. Andrews is that you can see live music every day. That's right. There is live music being played somewhere in St. Andrews 7 nights a week. Fortunately, my friend Ken Schaefer creates and publishes a weekly schedule for St. Andrews as well as most of Bay County. Ken's spreadsheet schedule is updated often when there's any changes. Ken also shares individual music events and is walking the walk and talking the talk when it comes to supporting live music. Not only does Ken supply the music schedules, but he attends several music performances a week and takes fantastic photos of the musicians. As a working musician myself, I feel blessed to have Ken and his wife Donna as treasured members of our local musical family. Make sure you like and follow Ken's page, Salty Sounds in St. Andrews, and Oh Boy Music on Facebook, so that you'll always know where all the live music will happen. Thank you so much, Ken, for everything you do. I cannot believe how quickly April flew by. So here's a few community events for the month of May. Here's the latest from the Market at St. Andrews. It's official! The Market at St. Andrews will be moving to its new home at beautiful Oaks by the Bay Park, effective May 7th, just in time for Mother's Day. The new market hours will be 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. each Saturday, rain or shine. They'll have lots of fun things planned that day, so please make sure to follow them on Facebook so you'll know of all the great things coming up. They'll have the Ukulele Orchestra of St. Andrews, and they'll be playing from 10 to 12 p.m., and there also might be some baby goats, so make sure you go check out the Market at St. Andrews at its new home at Oaks by the Bay Park. Next up, there's the Blessing of the Fleet in historic St. Andrews, and this is presented by Destination Panama City and Tyndall Federal Credit Union. The 25th annual Blessing of the Fleet, Fish Fry, and Burning of the Socks will be held at the St. Andrews Marina on Saturday, May 14th, 2022. The Fish Fry will begin serving at 11 a.m., with the sock burning event to follow. The processional of water vessels starts at 12 o'clock noon. The proceeds benefit Second Chance of Northwest Florida, a local nonprofit organization that provides services to brain injury survivors and their families in the community. Make sure you tune in to next week's episode because our featured guest is Andre Boyd from Second Chance, and he'll be able to let us know more about the event. National Museum Day is May 18th. This is a great day to go check out the Panama City Publishing Museum located at 1134 Beck Avenue. Follow their Facebook page to find out more details for Museum Day. Also, I highly recommend you take the historic walking tours with Ellen. I believe the tours meet every Wednesday and Friday at 1 p.m. So have y'all seen the new art exhibit by Floriopolis on Janie's Fence? This month, all the paintings are by local artists and are inspired by song lyrics. I hope y'all will be inspired to take a stroll down Beck Avenue, enjoy this exhibit, as well as the local shops and restaurants. If you're able to donate to Floriopolis' next exhibit, it's in 2 months. The folks at Floriopolis would really appreciate it. Floriopolis is a nonprofit that is run completely by volunteers. For more information about daily events happening in St. Andrews, please visit Keep St. Andrews Salty on Facebook. That's all the community events I've got for this week. Tune in next week for more. Thank y'all so much for listening to Season 3, Episode 4 of the St. Andrews Jezebel podcast. I hope you'll catch us next week. We've got an interview with Andre Boyd. He's from Second Chance, and they are a local nonprofit that assists survivors of traumatic brain injury and also their families. He'll be here to talk about the Blessing of the Fleet coming up May 14th in historic St. Andrews. And this is Second Chance's main fundraiser, and I believe it's super important to attend and support this event. This is an ancient tradition, and I'm so happy that St. Andrews has worked diligently to preserve it. As always, if you'd like to support the podcast, please visit our coffee page where you can make a one-time donation. Make sure you tell all your salty friends to follow us on Facebook so you can receive a notification every Thursday when episodes go live. Our theme song was written by me and recorded by Dave Schwartz on the campus of Gulf Coast State College. The rest was written by me in my music room, and this week's interview was recorded at the Bay County Public Library in their new digital media collab. Thank you so much, Sarah, for all your hard work and being on the show. Well, we'll see you next week. Till next time, keep St. Andrews salty.